You're right, that thing is way too genre specific. You know what? You make the thing next week. It takes forever. Welcome to Spoiler, the only TV podcast that could possibly forget Earl Hickey's El Camino and Marshall's car from the best episode of How I Met Your Mother, When Listing Vehicles. I'm James, this is Stu. Stu. Let's see. Stu has a brain slug attached to his head and is currently staring blankly, so don't expect a response. So today we're talking Halloween. Yeah, I thought for a long time that Halloween was just a holiday invented for The Simpsons, much like I thought Groundhog Day was a holiday invented for the movie Groundhog Day. But turns out both of those are American holidays. So, surprise, you're an idiot. So I think I may as well start with Simpsons, because why wouldn't we? I'll jump into Treehouse of Horror. Now, all of these are pretty much great, like, especially now, the best episodes coming out of the Treehouse of Horror episodes. Just can do whatever they want and just focus on the jokes. I guess if I had to narrow it down to one, I'm going to go Treehouse of Horror 5, because that's one of my favourite episodes, the top 5 at least, of the entire run. And it's because, like, all three are just brilliant segments. It's got my favourite of any of them is The Shining. It's one of my favourite horror movies, The Shining, and parody it perfectly. She Wanna Get Sued. It's got the time machine, is amazing. Just love, like, all the creative ways they change. Homer changes the future. I wish I hadn't killed that fish. And of course, that's one of my most quoted grandpa quotes, which is, you know, the words of wisdom on Homer's wedding day. You ever go back in time, don't step on anything, because even the smallest change could affect the future in ways you can't imagine. That was a terrible grandpa impression. Still has a better one, but, you know, brain slug and all. And then I think Nightmare Cafeteria is also great. I think it's probably the weakest of the three, but it still has that great, you know, Willie getting murdered for the third time in the minutest excuses to eat the children, like dropping a pencil on the floor. What else have we got? So I actually noticed quite a bit when I was coming up with Halloween episodes that I remembered from my youth and from today. They all ended up being comedies, or most of them anyway. So, like with Community, another one of my favourite. Like Epidemiology is probably in my top 3 episodes of the entire show. For those who don't remember, that's the zombie episode of Community, and it's just balls to the wall insanity. It's just as the show started going, like, embracing what it should have been to begin with. And it's got Troy trying to defeat the zombies with, like, that cardboard next to it from Aliens. And it's got the cat scare. They really do a great satire of that, where the cat keeps jumping out like numerous times. And Jeff's like, alright, screw the zombies, we're going to kill this cat first. And it's just... it's got ABBA music playing in the background for the whole thing. The Dean is... Well, I mean, all of the characters are perfect in this. There. It's got the classic memory wipe at the end of the Covenant agents. Jeff on his phone. He goes from being a zombie to regular Jeff. It's like, just goes back to being. So sort of Shaun of the Dead reference, I think, there. Bob's Burgers, there's quite a few good Halloween episodes of that as well. So my favourite is The Fortnight. I've only seen all the episodes once, so you have to forgive me for not remembering, like, specific scenes I have for the rest of these, but it's the one where Louise and Tina and Jean and the weirdo twins, they're all trapped in, like, a cardboard fort, and they've got to get out before trick-or-treating starts. It's like a truck backed up against them, and it's like the crazy cleaner girl won't let them out. quite funny. It's just, well, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, another one I've got to pick a year because they're all pretty much the same. The same heist every year. They just seem to get more and more ridiculous. But I'd go with the first one, if only because that's when the show started to get great. The characters starting to fall into a groove, and Holt especially starts to shine. It's got like, yeah, I mean, every year sort of like waiting for the Halloween episode to come out. Cause those always like, let's see what they do with the heist this year. To become the best detective / genius. So now with Parks and Rec, I believe Greg Paquitas is around the time that show got good. That's where Leslie's doing a stakeout to catch a vandal. It starts to be like a lot more laughs per minute in those episodes. She gets obsessed with destroying the kid. I believe it's the first time Burt Macklin, FBI, rears his head. And I guess I'll throw Creek in that category as well. I thought the show was okay. And did the Halloween episode where they're doing like a seance to contact someone who died on campus, like years ago. And we start to find out more about the Cappy and Evan friendship that they mentioned at camp. And one of them hooks up with like a crazy chick from there, I think. That's, yeah. Creek is the show that just kept getting funnier as it went. I think it actually peaked in the last season. It's like a lot of episodes from there. Come back quite a bit now. Two guys are going to a pizza place, had a Halloween episode where they find a secret room in the basement, and there's like a mad scientist down there, and he switches everyone's brains. I don't remember too much about that one, but I remember enough of it to put it down. Yeah, because I just love it. I love it when a regular show goes insane, and I guess dramas don't generally do that, which is why I couldn't really think of any Halloween drama episodes. That 70s show has a couple, but I'm going to go with the Permanent Records episode, which Community also ended up doing like a similar episode where like the group all find out shocking secrets about each other. This is like a lot more kid shocking as opposed to adult shocking, but like the one that stands out as the most betrayal to the game was that found out that Kelso could have been buying them beer because it had actually been kept back all this time. Buffy, there's a couple of those. I'm going to go with Fear itself though. That's might have been because it was from one of the weaker seasons. I think it's season 4, where like a frat party. So that one actually shines out more. So it was that and Hush. I think are the only 2 great episodes from that season. Although I'm probably forgetting some classics. But like all the characters are literally fighting their fears, and I think it starts the running joke of Anya being afraid of bunnies, which is probably my favourite running gag in the show. And someone should actually dress up as one the whole episode because it face your fears. But the funniest part of the whole episode is the ending when they accidentally summon the fear demon, and it turns out like the picture in the book was his actual size, so to squash him like a bug. Got Quantum Leap, Boogeyman. I believe that's the name of the episode anyway. Which is like Sam basically jumps into a murder mystery, and there's this goat that keeps popping up. It's very sort of Stephen King. Actually, so Stephen King that like the body he jumps into is a horror novelist. It's very gothic. It might be the creepiest the show ever gets, but it's still got that fun kind of tone it always has. Remember in Sabrina, Halloween was a family holiday because of the history of witches being persecuted or some such thing. But one of the episodes I remember from that show, which I remember being pretty fun but fairly forgettable, is one where she has to go to the family ritual and send a clone who can only speak like 3 phrases to us the 10 party, I'm in Harvey's or something like that. And the kids are like so vapid that they don't notice that she's a very laconic teenager, and she ends up going streaking because I love to. It's one of those phases she remembered. And I can't say nothing happened in that show. I'm sure it had the curse of getting boring once they went to college, because I don't remember any magic from those seasons. Just a string of boyfriends with no personality. But again, I haven't seen the show in ages, so I'm misremembering. Oh, Chuck. Okay, Chuck has Robert Englund, aka Freddy freaking Krueger, is the villain in this episode. And he's like inducing nightmares into people. It's obvious, sure, but it's fun. I think it's also the episode where the Buy-More has to decorate for Halloween. And Morgan and Mike have this great interaction where it's like, get it off your plate, delegate? It's like, no, I'm not a rhyming monkey. And I believe Jeff and Lester realize, oh, we've got to get into Jeff's brain to really get some fucked up decorations for this Buy-More. I was going to say Tuesday the 17th from Psych, but that's obviously not set with Halloween. I kept thinking of other spooky themed episodes because those are always fun. But none of them are Halloween specific, so I don't know why I jotted Psych down on this piece of paper. I'm one of those people that prefer the British operas, but and I stopped watching after like the first episode was like a shot-for-shot remake, but you know, you shouldn't judge a pile by its cover. And I went back and watched the show, and it does pick up and become its own thing like during the second season. I think the British version is still superior, I think, but there are parts of the American version and even episodes of the American version that are better than the Brits. The Halloween episode there, Jim's always dressing up as lazy costumes, I believe. Something talking about this, he dressed up as a 3-hole punch. But the scene I remember most from that episode is Michael talking about the paper mache head that's stuck to his shoulder about firing Dwight, and Dwight says, tell him to stop talking. And, I think it's sort of the Dwight-Michael relationship is always sort of the, I guess, part of that show. I should probably mention Stranger Things, just because, you know, Stranger Things going in Ghostbusters uniforms, you know, two of my favourite things in the world, so I can't really go without mention. And I quite like that after like the scariness of last year, they're dressing up as something, you know, people that hunt monsters as opposed to the monsters themselves, because it's a good kind of character note, I guess. Scrubbers, it's a great episode where JD's brother comes to town, old Dan, and JD doesn't take well to it all. There's like a super bittersweet ending and being kind of like, oh, okay, it's an interesting way of ending an episode, because you know, they think it's going to be like one of them apologising, but JD just screams at him to grow up, and Jen's like, no, I like my life, why don't you grow up? It's sort of a relationship like takes a big leap back in the short run, but like a small step forward in the long run. JD learns a bit more about Dan, even if he does like erupt at him in more of an apology. And Tom Cavanaugh is always sort of entertaining, like him in Air, like him in The Flash. I think my favourite part of Flash is the all the different wells that keep coming into the show. But yeah, there's an episode of Frasier where they all dress up as literary characters, and that just showed how pretentious those characters are. I can't remember the plot. I don't know if it had one, which is just sort of sit around and talk kind of episode, but again, I've only done a series run of that one once as well. So, How Many Mother had the Slutty Pumpkin, which I think is a classic. It's got Ted dressed up as the Hanging Chad, and I believe that's when they start the whole Marshall of the couples costumes with Marshall and Lily. Fresh Prince, very funny episode. That one is Hex and Single Guy, I believe it's called. It's just where Hillary just comes in and announces she's going on a date with Trevor. He previously died in one of the funniest moments in the whole series, and so all the whole Banks family go to the seance, and Will's just cracking jokes the entire time. It ends up getting the Banks family cursed, and everyone is hating Will, and he eventually wakes up, and the whole cycle starts all over again. It's a great episode of Sliders, which is another pilot. Actually, I should have mentioned in episode 1, but the show's so hit and miss, I kind of forget it a lot. But they become ghosts because they've slid into the cracks of a parallel world or something. They start haunting the hotel. I can't remember too many specifics, but it was really kind of a cool idea. Speaking of inconsistent shows, American Horror Story, for the first season, House, which is where like I quite like that because like the ghosts just get the ghosts can forget all the rules and just do whatever they want. Like they can go out into the streets, they can go nuts basically. Happy Endings has a Halloween episode, most notably for that Max and Penny costume where they dress up as like a mum and a baby, and they don't manage to get laid, which is, you know, imagine that. Okay, so I didn't know how long this list would take, but I put this down just in case, you know, I had to fill. And just do so out of it. And it's Pretty Little Lies. Now, I'm not the target demographic for this show. I don't love it by any means, but it's a show I watch when there's something else on Netflix. I think I'm about 3 seasons in. I haven't gone back for a while, but I just enjoy that this is a show where like literally everyone in Rosewood is terrible. So I don't have to care about anyone and can just see what happens. Like nobody ever learns their lesson. It's like the idea of maybe we just stop lying, so we stop falling into these traps, but never curse them. So anyway, the show recognises how ridiculous it is, and that's what I like about it. I know like there's an episode where they go to the Bates Motel and meet the owner, who's clearly like a Norman Bates character, and then it's just never mentioned again. But as for Halloween, there's a few. I don't know that's they changed the opening credits, which I always appreciate. But the one that springs to mind is the Ghost Train episode, where Ari gets nailed in a box next to a corpse and almost gets thrown off the train. And it's like one of the few, I guess, action movie sequences of the show, and it's so ridiculous and horrifying, it sticks in my mind. There's also a bunch of A suspects that are walking around the train in the same mask, and look, those types of over-the-top episodes, which I keep going back to the show for, because it's plenty of mundane love triangle stuff in the show, but I like the campy stuff, like the melodrama of the simple things, and then the everyday of the extraordinary, kind of like that Night Owl sort of situation. Anyway, we have a fairly strict non-Googling rule in the shows, because, you know, we want it to be from our mind, not just regurgitating what other people have come up with. So if we have missed a blatantly obvious Halloween classic, please email us at spoileralert@gmail.com, and we'll chastise ourselves for next week. But serious spotlight time this week. Instead of randomly throwing something at breaking my DVDs, we're just going to go with the new season of Daredevil, which just came out. So look away now. And it might be my favourite of all the Defenders seasons. I love the first season. Season 2 is even better. And 3 is just like a non-stop train. Fisk's a manipulative arsehole to the nth degree. The fights are amazing. It's like a one-shot of Matt getting out of a prison riot. That's amazing. A fight in a parking garage. It's great. And, you know, there's no Game of Thrones or Stranger Things or Fargo or Rick and Morty this year, so Daredevil can end up being my favourite show of the year. I always appreciate when I don't know if a hero is going to kill a villain or not, and that really does toy with you there. It's that time you've all been waiting for, email time. And now we have one email this week. That's from a regular emailer, Google. And he says, add ways for us to make sure it's you, spoilernote@gmail.com. Well, I mean, saying hello would be a nice start, but thanks for getting straight into the subject matter. Users with extra ways to verify their identity are far less likely to be hacked or locked out. Add additional ways to prove it's really you, and see other personalised security recommendations in the security checkup. Take action. Worried about clicking links? Visit the security checkup at, and it gives a link here, but I'm assuming it's going to be a virus, so I'm going to avoid that one. Well, there's no real question in that, but thank you for your email. Keep them coming. In the future, I would like some sort of, whether it's a question on my taste in shows or any question at all, really. And rather than just talking about email security, which I really don't give a shit about, no offense, Google. But yes, thank you for being a fan. Anyway, Stu's other podcast, Stooky Stories, where Stu tells ghost stories to an actual ghost. I discuss whether it's accurate or racist, is available, so get on that. But in the meantime, just keep on spooking.